speakers on though.
Yeah. All right. I think we just did the same mistake as you and I did when I had the first podcast.
Didn't connect the speakers.
No. All right. I think this is better. Yeah. All right. So we're back. We're back in the studio, and
maybe I should do all this.
Yeah, I think so. We're here with Kit Dale for the podcast Tjena, Kompis. Do you know what Tjena, Kompis means?
It means, God, hello. How are you?
No,
Yeah, sort of. It's more like, hey, buddy.
So it's like the Australian, like, g'day.
G'day, mate.
G'day.
G'day. Okay, now we got sound. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, like have a studio podcast like this. So I asked my good friend Tonkan about this, and then we just built the studio, and now we're here with the first episode.
And I thought, of course we can do this. Just have a phone and talk. And Ricard said, no, we should have all of this. Then he fixed it.
I respect that about Ricard.
Yeah.
You're going to go all the way. I'm like the same. If I want to do something, I'll go out and just spend way too much money in something I barely ever use.
But I built the table.
The table's nice.
Yeah, but there should be a shout out to the rest of the people that helped out also. It wasn't just Tony that helped out, right?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, pretty sure.
No,
it's just
shout out
Tony.
to Henke, who did the monitor. He helped out with that. So
shout out to
Henke
Brett.
yeah, it's a team effort.
Shout out to Brett.
Yeah, Brett, of course.
No,
Hey,
shut
Brett.
up, Brett.
Shout
out Brett. No, Brett of course fixed the nice like we even have this, and then we have this.
Oh, it looks like I'm about to fight.
Is it Kit short for something like
Catastrophe.
catastrophe?
Nah, it's just it's just Kit. They found my name in a names book. I'm trying to be creative and gave me a name that I was going to get teased for a long time.
Because it is a girl's name, right?
I think it can be a girl's name, but I think it was mostly Kit Kat that I used to get, the chocolate bar.
Like this?
Yeah, you wrote
Kit
it down.
Kat.
Kit Kat. I used to tell him king size, chunky.
I actually wrote a thing about your name here because is it short for something cool like Kitaria or
It
something?
means short for something cool. It's cool by itself.
Yeah,
mate.
I mean,
No, because
It's not. My middle name's cool. James.
yeah,
Ooh, James.
Dale. James Dale. Shaken, not stirred.
I like that one.
Tony, you just got a reaction from Brett, just Yeah.
Hashtag shut up, Brett.
Yeah.
No, because you seen Pretty Woman,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
the movie, the prostitute, her friend, her name was Kit.
Oh, yeah, it was too.
So just saying, you have a prostitute girl's name.
Oh, that's a good thing. It's very marketable, obviously.
Yeah.
So we just finished off the first day of the seminar. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Like we had 70 people on the mat today.
Even more. That's why I was
Yeah.
74. I
Yeah.
think I counted it in.
So like just your how did the first day feel? And
Good after the first 5 minutes when I decided not to have a panic attack. I was looking
you
around.
You mentioned that. So tell me more about it.
I don't know. I've never, there was just so many people there. And I don't like super crowded places regardless. And then I started feeling like a little bit panicky. I was thinking, don't you dare have a panic attack right now. You got to teach 70 people. And then it was like getting worse. And I was like, oh, crap. And so I quickly just went and got a drink of water. And I was like almost slapped myself in the face. Like, come on, kid. Stop being a little bitch. You got this.
I mean, what would we have done if all of a sudden Kit was just gone? I mean, what if he I went for water and where's Kit? And
There was a lot of people with bald heads out there.
Yeah.
Like they could have just
Could have
stepped
grabbed
in.
anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't think they knew who I was anyway. But yeah, it went away real quick. And I was like, oh, thank God for that.
Has that happened before?
Not in a seminar. It usually happens in situations that I feel like I can't just exit from, where people are relying on me. Like, for example, working in film, even podcasts. I've done live podcasts before and felt like a bit uncomfortable because I'm thinking, man, what happens if I feel anxious right now and I can't just leave? You know, it's situations where I feel like I just can't just leave. Planes, the same thing. Something I need to deal with a little bit better.
Did you feel it during Iron Sky at all?
Yeah, especially the first day or two was pretty bad filming that, and then it goes away. You kind of get comfortable and feel good. But you know, the first day of doing a lot of things, I feel like that. Even we went away to the snow in like the middle of nowhere in Sweden. And even like the first day there, I was just like, man, what if I want to leave? I can't just leave. There's one train out of there. And, you know, I just get a little bit funny about that. But
would you mind tell a little bit about Iron Sky? Because I don't know if everybody seen the movie.
Okay, so I shot a movie. I'm one of the leads in a movie called Iron Sky, The Coming Race. It's on Netflix if you're in America. I think it's on iTunes in Australia and a few other places. You'd have to kind of look it up. But it's the first one was like a cult classic called Iron Sky. It was about Nazis on the moon that come back. Oh, here we go.
We can actually...
Is that the first one? That's the original.
Yeah, that's the original.
Okay,
So if you go to Iron Sky, The Coming Race, yeah, that's the one I'm in. I was on that. That was really hard when we were flying that. Hey?
Was it hard to fly that one?
It was difficult. There were a lot of weird buttons. The creators that brought you Iron
The world
Sky.
as we know it ended in 2018. The war between the Earth and the Moon Nazis had led to all-out nuclear
So
destruction.
there's this original movie, and then this is a
The last survivors of the human
No, not a
race
remake. This is
made
just
their
a
refuge on
sequel
the
to
dark side
it.
of the
It's set in
moon.
the future.
So you're a Nazi?
No, I'm on the Nazi
exiled
base though. I'm
remnants
just
of
one of
humankind
humanities. I'm one of the
made their new
soldiers.
home in the
I'm
former
a
Nazi
very nice
base.
guy in this. Very strong,
The
handsome.
Moonführer?
And,
Oh, he's famous.
Yeah, he's famous.
Udoki, yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
That's the lead there.
That's from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he's good to work with.
The moon's
Yes.
not going to be here for long.
We are going to head to the center of the
Tom
earth,
Green.
which is apparently hollow,
This
and
is my
hopefully
ear, this is
find
my
the
ear.
one thing that can save my mom and basically the whole of mankind.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Can I go?
Oh, there we go. All right. That almost earned me an Oscar.
Functioning at full capacity.
In the
All right.
background there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we shot that in, I think, 2016, and then it come out in 2019. But it was held up a lot because of some legal issues. But yeah, it was really good. It was fun, a lot of fun, and it really inspired me to do a lot more film work and follow a career in film a lot more.
But how do you get into that? Because you're famous as a jiu-jitsu fighter. And
I was very lucky. I was on Facebook, and the director happened to, and for some reason we were friends on Facebook, and he sent me a message and said, hey, this is a bit of a long shot, but you know, are you an actor as well as a director? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just an actor. I just, on Facebook you can only put actor/director. And he said, would you be willing to audition for a movie? We're mainly casting in Europe at the moment, but you look like a really good fit to play one of the main characters. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And I'm thinking, what is he? At first I was just thinking, this can't be right. So I Googled his name, and then it was right. And then I did an audition, a video audition for him. He liked it. He sent back another bigger scene and said, can you do another one? So I did another one, and then I had a meeting with him and the producer, and it was basically just getting the producer over the line, which it always is in film. Like, you can have the casting directors love you, but the producers are thinking money more than anything, so that's always the toughest part. And they were worried because they thought that if they fly me out, they're going to have to fly me back and forth all the time from Australia to Belgium, because they were shooting in Belgium. And then once he met me and he realised how charming I was,
yeah,
we got along really well, and they cast me, and it was great. It was one of the most enjoyable times of my life. It was 2 months in Belgium, staying at the Hilton Hotel and shooting that. And I got to say, like, it's definitely like one way I'd like to spend my life is working in film, acting, you know, even writing, directing, anything around creating films is really fun. So I was very lucky to get that opportunity.
all right.
And your brother is actually a filmmaker.
Yeah, he's directing at the moment. He's a writer and director. He's got his first feature film. He's directing for Millennium Films, and they're shooting in Bulgaria this year for about 6 months. And this is great. He did a bit of a rewrite with the writers on that, and it's a big budget film. They've got some big actors they're talking to, and it's really good for him because he's very talented. The work, you know, I always think like he's very similar to me, and the work I did in jiu-jitsu, he did more in film. So I feel like I'm very confident he's going to do very well in film, and now he's got a good opportunity. he'll take that and he'll do well, and then it'll grow, and it'll be good for both of us to work together and stuff, because we have our own scripts that he's the writer, but I come up with ideas and we work back and forth, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fun times in the next couple of years and creating some film, and I'll try and chuck as much jiu-jitsu as I can in there.
So you're originally from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background there? Where did you grow up and stuff like that?
So it was 1986. There was some farmers, and they heard a loud bang out the front, and they found a comet hit the ground, and basically they found me with I had a cape. I'm not sure what it was. Had an S on there or something, and they raised me.
The usual.
I was chasing trains and stuff. No,
I think there's a similar story to this.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I read this before.
Yeah.
Was that you?
They wrote a movie about it. They called
yeah?
they called it Superman. And, yeah, I don't know. It's about me. Nah, I grew up in the Yarra Valley in Australia.
that?
The Yarra Valley.
Yarra Valley?
It's like a little bit country in Australia. I went to a school with only 52 people in the whole school, so it was very secluded. And
Sounds awesome.
yeah, it wasn't very awesome.
That's for you. Like
No,
Tony,
it sounds awesome.
Oh, you like that? Like, yeah, it was fun. I mean, but
Tony
like,
doesn't like people.
yeah,
Like
then you
some
would have liked
people.
it. Yeah, it was very small. I grew up in that area, and then we kind of went more into the metropolitan area, and
Get your shit
very
together,
well done.
Ricard.
Yeah,
I just spilled my drink. Well,
learning how
okay.
to drink.
Yeah.
And we grew up in that area. It was fun. I got a big family. I got like 7 aunties and 13 uncles, and I got something like 57 cousins or something.
What?
Yeah, big family. And we're close, so it was really cool. 2 brothers are really cool,
Yeah.
and a mum and a dad.
Sorry, I did that. Because I thought you had 3 brothers, and I thought you were going to say one of them sucks and 2 are really cool, but where's the 3rd brother? That was totally necessary.
And then I remember when we talked, like the last time you got into sports, like you played football and stuff like that. You had like a...
Wait, football or soccer?
No, Aussie rules football. It's a little bit different, a little bit more chaotic. It's probably the most dangerous game in the world with a football, because you'd have no pads, there's no offsides, you get smashed from behind, tackled. I started playing that when I was younger, and then I went and got into karate, and then added a little bit of a dabble in ninjutsu. I really wanted to learn nunchucks, so I went to ninjutsu, but at the time they banned weapons, so all I learnt was how to, climb under climb under chairs and jump down softly and stuff.
Why did you want to learn nunchucks? What was your
Everyone
goal?
did.
Yeah, I mean, but
Just watching Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but did you ever are you expecting to fight with it, or like just
If
to
I have
show
to.
off?
Nah, more to show off than anything. Yeah, girls see me swinging those things at 16 years old, it's a done deal.
Marriage.
So I did that, and then I got into inline hockey because the Mighty Ducks was like out at that time, and it was so big. I was like, man, I need to learn how to play this. So I started playing inline hockey, and I actually picked it up real quickly. And I was trying out for the state side, and then I quit that, and my dad paid me $20 to start playing football. So I was like, at the time it was big money, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take this and play football. And then I followed football for a while. I did quite well. I was with a very successful club. We'd won 3 premierships, and I played Interleague. I played Vic, and then I played the Vic East representative side.
Sorry. I didn't sleep last night.
Yeah. It was fun. And then after doing that for a while, I got asked to try out for, I forget what club it was, but it was like the 2nd club of the highest level. So it's like the VFL. And I just thought, okay, I might come down. And at the same time, I started training jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu is life.
Yeah, I started training life.
Yeah.
And I kind of made a decision not to go back to football and to follow jiu-jitsu. And I think the reason was I was looking at, how far can I go in football? Well, it's an Australian-only sort of competition, and I feel like it's very limited, where jiu-jitsu, you can go all over the world and compete, and it's on a world stage. So I decided to go more into jiu-jitsu, and then, did that for a good 4 years. And then I stopped jiu-jitsu for a little bit, and then got injured for a little bit, and then come back into jiu-jitsu, I think, in 2016, more as a hobbyist and a coach than a professional athlete or anything. I think once I did my knee, I had a few other injuries, I didn't have the same either passion for competing or body.
Speaking about jiu-jitsu, we got a question here from Timpa Limpa, so I just put it on here. Is this true that Tony gave you the black belt and taught you everything you can?
Yeah, that's basically true.
Actually, I remember very well when I discovered you. It was because one of the things you're obviously an amazing fighter, you know, but you're
being modest.
Yes. But you have this humor, this timing, this people want to be around you, like, because a lot of people are great fighters, but you don't even hear about them. I don't know about them. I don't know anything. They could be so much more, but they're like invisible. I saw the Polaris, what's it called, countdown.
Yeah.
When you against Gary Tonin.
That was Metamoris.
Metamoris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ever correct me again in front of the world. I remember when you were purple, I said that once. And but I thought, wow, this dude is so funny. Look, he's so cool. Blah blah blah. And you had this timing when you kissed the ring.
Oh yeah, that with your your master there. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
They wanted to shoot like a hype up video for it and about my life and stuff. So I kind of thought, oh, let's have some fun with this. It was me and my brother. I didn't want to be like all serious because at the time that was kind of where I wasn't that interested in competing anymore. Like I do it more as fun.
Yeah,
This is the one, right?
I've probably seen.
Oh
this.
yeah, it is.
I didn't have a.
It's a long
didn't have
one.
an
It's
apartment
14 minutes.
Here.
So this is Gary
in the middle of the
talking.
summer, and I was
Easy.
trying to get in as much
good
training as I
time.
can and trying to coach while still having enough money to travel.
But
It just wasn't
like
gonna
the
work.
the one.
version?
This is his
what I would
talking
do, I
about.
would coach
It's
class,
real serious and it's deep and it's
at night
motivational.
I'd
Yeah.
just stay in the
Scroll.
academy, and it'd be
I
like
switched to
9
you
years
and
ago. I
you're
was
like-
afraid to turn on the air conditioner. Close.
All right, now it's me.
I started back in 2008 when a young man tried to kiss me while I was playing. I first met him when I was trekking in the Andes, and we were hunting wild amphibians. And I met him on that trip. I remember because he's actually a bit of a life guru. He's a strength conditioning coach, he's a motivator, personal trainer. He's a master in yoga and Pilates. And his main thing is he creates strategies,
He was the
game
one.
plans. So
This timing
he's
is so good.
unorthodox.
This is my brother.
Yeah, it is?
Weird in ways.
At least we
But
can
he's the best in the best at what he does.
Oh, I have more gold.
We're just at the academy super early in the morning, about 8:30, and we meet with my strategist coach. He had a distinct aura about him, like a real arsehole aura, but not a sense. And through the arsehole there was someone that just had something to share, and I just felt that then. Just spend a lot of time with him after the match. That's I remember just doing some
And now you kiss the ring. Yeah.
See the timing?
and yeah, I think I want to get a view on the camera.
Yeah, sure.
It's not that bad, if you know what I mean.
You can cut this out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I saw the fight, and I saw some flaws, and I thought, I'm gonna help this guy. He can make it. And now you're a movie star.
Yeah, look, you know,
You're welcome.
I was very lucky to meet you back in the past when I hadn't met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like a fun thing, because I'm say some. Ricard is more correct, and I go, and then I said, Tony, okay, God damn it, from now on, no more like this. Okay, I got it. But you have to find your timing right by making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I probably said some couple of stupid things too, and then like, God damn it, I have to back that one.
Many times.
Yeah.
I think foot and mouth syndrome, I think they call it. Yeah, there's so many times I'd say stuff and then be like, oh. I mean, I was never really funny as a kid at all. I was actually made fun of more than anything. So I kind of took the material that people used on me and I just recycled it onto other people, which was really beneficial. But my cousins were quite funny, and we had a family that would always try and rip into each other and take the piss out of each other. So no matter what family function you were going to, like, you had to have strong, like, tough skin, because, you know, you're arriving there, and I was like 20 years old, going bald, and then I'd hear my cousin out there be like, "Oh, kid's coming. Hey, thinners." And I'd be like, "Oh, man." And I get in there, and they're just trying to find any way to bag you. And then I had a lot of flaws as a young kid. I was nothing like what I am now. Not saying that I'm not flawed now, but I had a lot of issues, confidence issues. I only kissed like one girl up to the age of 18, so women terrified me. I was terrible with like talking, anything public. So there's a lot of things I had to sort of, you know, grow with, and to have a family that is just ripping into you no matter like what. There's no like rules there. Like anything they could find, they would, you know, bag you about that. So it was a lot of fun, and it was very embarrassing.
Was it ever okay to like to tap out from that, like to tell them like, "Hey guys, this is too much. Can we just relax for a bit?"
If you did that, all of them.
That was like showing your throat. That was that.
Literally,
like,
you just become like food for everyone, because everyone's going to try and get into you. And I think that's it. It really comes from a good area, because in a way it toughens you up, and it tells you, you know, it stops you from really giving a shit what people think. Because if you're exposed to that kind of, you know, bullying, that's not too much that you break, but it's enough that you kind of have to grow from, then you're going to stop caring about stupid things. And really, like, that was the best part of that, is because I got thick skin. I stopped really caring what people said about me. Not completely. Like, if someone says something with, you know, ill intentions or malice, I'm like, of course I'm going to react regardless. And I get this anyway online. I get people saying certain things about me, and it still upsets me. You can get 50 people saying great things about you, and then you get the one person that says something bad, and you're just like, you mother. I just want to get them and smash. But, you know, you have, it's something I'm trying to deal with a lot, and that definitely helped me not care so much what others think. And then that allowed me to be a lot more free and be myself. And I feel like that was the best thing I did online, was just be who I am. Yeah. Just film what we do and the way we are. And the people that like you are going to come, and the people that don't are going to just hate on you. And I'll have to bust them up when I see them, you know.
Yeah. So do you, because you live in America now, right?
Yeah.
Do you big difference in tough skin, like in Australia, America, and Sweden?
Oh, yeah.
Sweden is the wussy
the wussy capital.
Well, because like everybody seeks a reason to get offended.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
just
think
because it's offensive doesn't mean you have to get offended. But
I definitely hear. I mean, you guys are kind of the exception, and probably because you're all martial artists, a little bit different. And I think that's why we get along quite well here.
European champion, world champions,
yes. And where I feel like there's a lot of men are scared to be men, and there's a real wrong message with toxic masculinity and all that here. So I feel like there's a lot of guys just out there that are basically like girls, and not saying it's anything bad, but I feel like there's a big lack of just, you know, actual real men here. And I'm not using it in any way that's, you know, what you would call toxic. Just
no
men.
More seminars in Sweden for kids.
But yeah, the martial arts are usually different. I feel like they're quite good. Yeah. The difference between America and Australia, Australians like bagging each other and having fun. America a little bit less like that. Australians support the underdog. Americans support the winner. Yeah. So if you're doing well in Australia, people be like, you know, trying to pull you back down. Like, here's a reality check. You know, just relax a little bit there, son. In America, if you're doing well, they're going to push you, and then the moment you're not doing well, they're going to like forget you real quick. So I think the biggest difference in America is people at face value are quite nice, but they're very fake. Because especially in LA, everyone's got an agenda. Everyone wants to get somewhere. That's why they moved to LA. So they're just trying to figure out who can help them and who can't help them. And if they can help them, they're going to, you know, pretend to be someone they're not, just to get you to help them. And it's not really who they are. They're kind of just a lot more lies. And it's very hard to get honest people there. Where in Australia, people don't really care about that as much, and probably, you know, so they're a lot more transparent with how they're doing and how they're feeling and who they are.
Would you say like Australia is more like breaking balls and America is more like bullying?
I don't know. Probably Australia is a little bit more bullying. but it's in a good way. You're going to keep burping
that's
all
breaking
the
balls.
whole night.
I can just
10
lower
seconds.
his. I have a lot of bottom.
Every 10
buttons here,
seconds
so I
he's
can
like
just-
this.
Yeah.
I thought that was a sound effect. That's
Yeah.
really him.
No, we have a sound effect here. We can do.
Oh, Tony needs
Look,
that
Ralph
one.
naked. Sorry.
That's great. But yeah, I don't know if they're just. And look, I only spend a lot of time in LA and Hollywood, and Hollywood's very different to a lot of the other areas in America. So I can only speak for Hollywood. Hollywood's ultra liberal right now. It's all about making sure you don't offend anyone, and everyone's trying to. I don't know. It's like they're just trying to correct the balance by overcorrecting the balance, if that makes sense. And I see this a lot, especially in film. You know, in film at the moment, they're putting a lot of casting calls out, and the casting call be anything but white, anything but Caucasian, because they want to. Is it Caucasian or Caucasian? They want to try and give back to the minorities and stuff like that. They forget I'm Australian. I'm a minority as well. I want to get everything. I don't want. There should be script saying anything Australian. But, you know, it is what it is. But that's the way it is at the moment.
But you're here now in Sweden because of the seminar.
Mm-hmm.
You've been coming here for quite some time now, especially to our club, Nakadoyo, and we love it. How would you say martial art is getting in Sweden compared to the rest of the world?
Since I come to Nakadojo, a lot better.
Yeah.
No, it's really good here. And I like, especially Sweden, because I feel like there's a lot more intellects in Sweden, which works really well with the way I like to teach, because people think a lot more about what they're doing. And I feel like it's really good because it allows me to go into the more conceptual realm, because I know people are going to do the work, you know, compared to somewhere else that just wants to be told, just tell me what to do, A, B, and C. But you don't understand. It's a problem-solving game that needs, you know, constant attention to and improvisation for. So it's better for me to have guys like yourselves that really think about what they're doing, so that we can really delve into learning jiu-jitsu properly. I think the level here is really good right now. You got some really good guys, especially even all Europe right now, with like Espen and Tommy over in Norway killing it. Who's the guy with the mustache and
Adam Wojcinski?
Adam Wojcinski.
Wojcinski.
He's, you know, obviously been amazing. So I think it's really good. And there's other names in there that I'm forgetting right now, but I think the level's going really good. You just need a couple of those guys to do well, then it gives everyone else confidence to start doing. Sebastian Brosch as well. He's Swedish in Norway right now. He's he went vegan, and he's opened a farm, and he feeds his son lots of vegan food. His son is like 6 foot tall and massive. He's like 1 year old, and he's huge. I've seen the biggest vegan baby in the world, man. He's so cute though. Sebastian sends me videos of him all the time. Just send him a video, and he's like, I told him he's like a dog. Weird. So he threw food, and then the little kid walks up there and then just puts his hands back and eats it. No, it's awesome. And he's really good as well. So I think they're doing very well here at the moment.
How would you say the kind of atmosphere or the in jiu-jitsu in general, compared from when you started? Have you seen the atmosphere, coaches towards the referees, like the general atmosphere in jiu-jitsu? It's
definitely changed a lot since I started in 2008, and probably didn't really get onto the scene till 2009 to look at competitions, or 10. But it's becoming a lot more professional, and it's becoming a lot more popular. And there's been definite trend shifts from when I first started. I mean, when I first started, there wasn't many leg locks or anything like that. No-gi wasn't very popular. And now no-gi, thanks to Eddie Bravo doing like the 10th Planet stuff with Joe Rogan backing him, you know, that blew up a lot. And then you had leg locks and stuff like that. And that's like been the trend of the last 2 or 3 years. That's really big. And it's kind of allowed a platform for athletes to get a lot more exposure and hence make more money. So, and then athletes are trying to now exploit social media in a way to financially benefit themselves. And some people do it in a classy way, and some people do it in a really cheap way. It doesn't really matter. They're still making, you know, good money either way you do it. It depends on how you want to be viewed right now. And I think it's more, and if anyone's looking into doing that, I think it's better to do it in a very classy way than it is to do it in a cheap way. And I'll tell you why. Look, you can be really good at jiu-jitsu, and you can get that exposure and you can be a dick about it. You can be an asshole online, and you can say all the wrong things, and it's cool, and you might get heaps of followers, and you might make heaps of money, but eventually you're not going to be competing in jiu-jitsu, and the people that liked you for jiu-jitsu are not going to like your jiu-jitsu anymore, and the only thing they're going to remember is who you were. And there's a lot of these guys that are very famous right now, but the only reason they're popular is because they're good at something. And the moment that's gone, or people don't care about that, they're not going to like you. So there's a lot of people out there that do have big followings, that are doing very well, that people really don't like anything about them except the fact that they're good at something. So I think it's really important to not fall into that category. You know, I want to make a lot of money, I want to get a lot of followers. Okay, I'm going to be a dick online and say really, what's the word? Controversial stuff, and then I'm going to get heaps of followers. And it's just like, it's a trap that I think you don't want to fall in, because it's very short-lived, and you're going to send the wrong message.
You saw like Muhammad Ali started pretty much the trash talking thing, but he also had always he had a sense of humor.
He had class.
He had the timing.
He had funny.
Yeah.
It's very different.
How much do you think like the Conor McGregors and the like Gordon Ryans, because there's a thin line here between being Muhammad Ali in terms of timing and then being a dick.
Well, Muhammad Ali was further on the spectrum of funny, and you could see the humor behind what he was saying, and he was great. He had class. Conor McGregor was probably in the middle. Like, he had that, and he kind of got pulled too much to being like controversial and being a dick about it. So I liked him. I thought I thought he's great for MMA, but he kind of treaded that line a little too far sometimes. Yeah. Gordon Ryan, unbelievably good jiu-jitsu. I think he's on the far end of the spectrum that I wouldn't want to be on in terms of that. Just a lot of, and I don't know him personally, and I'm sure he's a really good guy personally, but the message that he puts out there, people are going to, like, there's certain people are going to idolize that, and you're going to get a lot of followers and a lot of money, but eventually people are not going to care about your jiu-jitsu. When you're 40 years old and you're not able to do that anymore, the people that idolize you for that are no longer going to idolize you anymore. And there's going to be new guys that are doing better than you and doing more than you, and you're going to be forgotten, and all they're going to remember is the image that you created of yourself. And I don't think it's a great one. I think Justin Bieber sort of did the same sort of thing, like where he had a bad image, and I think it's important to really just be very mindful of what you're putting out there, because, yeah, guys are going to like you, they're going to buy your things, you're going to make money, but eventually that's going to fade, and all you're going to be left with is that picture that you painted of yourself.
Yeah, I think Mayweather is in the same category for me also. I watch all his fight because it's amazing, but I watch it because I sort of want to see him lose sometime, but he never does, because he's the best of the best. But I mean, the message he puts out and it's like money stuff is just to me it's not appealing at all. He just comes off as a huge douchebag.
And I think like Gordon would fit in the same category. There are probably a lot more people wishing he loses than wanting him to win.
Do you think that he actually quit? Like, he posted online now for a couple of days?
Yeah, I think at the moment. I don't think it's going to last. I don't think it'll last. I think what'll happen is, at the moment, everyone's loving him. Well, not everyone's loving him. A lot of people hating, but he's very popular, and he's doing the best in no-gi at the moment. There's not much for him to gain. He's challenging guys that are well past their prime. There's very few people that are coming up that can really challenge him. So he's in a very good time where he's just the best of this time. And I don't think there's much out there. If he goes into, like, let's say he keeps competing in no-gi, he's already the best in no-gi right now. So who's he going? Like, of course, Philippe Pena beat him and stuff like that. There are other guys that can beat him, but he's one of the top. What's he going to gain from that? Not much. If he goes into gi, he's probably going to get beaten by good guys in the gi, because it's a different realm. And he could eventually become really good in the gi, but then it will take away from the no-gi. MMA is the same thing. It's a big risk with like smaller reward. MMA would have a bigger reward because obviously a much bigger stage and stuff like that. But I think in a year or two, when you realize that you're not getting the same attention that you used to get, he's getting.
I was going to ask you about that, because that must be like the hard part.
That's the hard part. It's the reason why most people turn to drugs and to, actors and stuff like that do the same thing, because you go from having all these people idolizing you, all these women wanting to bang you, and all this these kids looking up to you, to them like, I don't really care about him anymore. I haven't seen him compete in a year, and this guy's probably better. And then it hurts. It hurts your ego, and you feel that. You feel like that loss of attention, and then suddenly like, I want that back. So most likely, I think in a year or two, he'll go back into competing because he wants that. But he's aging, and it's always going to be finite, and it's always going to be the end path. That's why I think it'd be better for him to change his image a little bit and be a lot more likable than continuing to do what he does.
How do you think he would do in MMA?
I think he'd do pretty good. I mean,
do you think he could survive with the grappling only? Let's say he's really bad at standing. Do you think he could survive with his just superior grappling?
No. I don't think his wrestling's good enough either. But I know he's working on his wrestling, and it'd be great. I think he'd have probably the best jiu-jitsu in there. But it's like another world learning how to strike, and not all grapplers convert into really good strikers. I think his style is quite methodical and slow and relaxed, and I don't know if he'd have the same explosion from someone like Raymond Daniels that I train, which is unbelievable striking and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm sure if you look at his work ethic, I mean, he said he's training 3 to 4 or 5 times a day, he lives and breathes it. You're going to get good quick, and he's still young, so he can be really good. I think at the moment you just have to have a lot to work on.
I would like to follow up on what Rick has said with the trend. Because I really liked Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because people weren't douchebags. They did not be the MMA. I love MMA, but they weren't acting like MMA shitty aura. But now I see, because I'm a coach for youth. Yeah, youths here, and I see when we coach at competitions, I see other coaches screaming bad things and taking after that behavior, and I don't like where it's heading. Yeah, and I think they're not doing the sport a good favor. When you just comment or ask, like, what do you mean about that? Then this media started attacking people on internet and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's been a big shift in the last couple of years, and it's, like I said, it's not just business anymore; it's show business. Yeah. And there's a way to do show business. You can be classy or you can be tacky, and the choice is yours. They're both effective, but they both, paint you in a certain picture. Classy is always the best way, but not everyone can do it. To be classy, like Muhammad Ali was extremely funny. Like, he was great. He was charismatic. He's always smiling. He didn't look angry. He looked like he was happy all the time, and it was great. When you got other guys that are complaining all the time and calling other people bad things all the time and negative and doing that, then you're painting a different picture of yourself. You're still going to get the same attention and all that, but it's going to be different. So I think that you have to understand, if you want to make good money, you have to be marketable, but there's better ways to be marketable than just being controversial all the time and being rude and arrogant. You don't need to have that. You can paint a much better picture, but it's far more difficult to do that because, one, you have to have comedic timing, and you have to learn that. You have to understand that, and it's the best way to get to anyone. Comedians are like that. People love comedians because they make them laugh and make them feel good. People watch other people because they want to see what they're saying and who they're bickering about and what they're saying. It's very different. It's like reality TV versus.
But also in comedian now, they're obviously good at trashing in a good way.
With the roasting,
roasting.
The roast battles.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah. I love them.
When it first came, I was like, "That's so mean."
Yeah, it's really mean. But when people can take it and they're just like, everybody's aware of, like, we're gonna be, roasting you. We're gonna go all in here. Then it's fine. But some of the things they say is,
We have 2 questions.
Yeah. So we have one from Jürgen.
Shout out to Jürgen.
Yeah, Jürgen, listening in. He says, "Oh, we can read it."
Yeah. You want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it. I'm a beginner looking for a new mindset. He's 41 years old. And then he, any advice, anything, been lifting weights for 24 years. Shout out to Nakadoyo. You're great guys. And then Tony, I miss you.
Yeah.
So you asked him to.
No, he's a good friend of mine. We've been really, really, really good friends.
Well, the question's a little vague because it says I'm a beginner looking for a new mindset. What mindset are you looking for? And what mindset are you trying to get away from? Anything, I think, like, the thing is, you're 41 years old, you're not 21, okay? There's a big difference. You're going to be learning jiu-jitsu in a time where your body's going to be slowly decaying in a sense. So it's really important to choose a style of jiu-jitsu that's going to be better for longevity. So I would be training very relaxed. I wouldn't be trying to, like, I would be trying to become more
that's
efficient.
so hard for some people.
Yeah, I know. Especially at 41, this is like the old man strength you lock down.
Because you're scared to get injured, so you like.
But that's a good thing, because you come in great shape.
Yeah, because
the better you are at the sport, the fatter you get.
Yeah,
because I'm going to use technique.
Yeah. So what do you want? Good abs and to be broken in half? No.
Yeah.
I think you just got to be very specific on where you go to learn and try and find a more friendly place. Like as a 41-year-old, I wouldn't be going to a competitive environment like Atos or something like that because one, they're drilling, so you get rid of that. Two, it's for competitors, and at 41, unless you're doing steroids and stuff like that, it's probably going to be very hard for you to keep up. So I feel like you need to be very mindful of what you're doing and just very playful and very relaxed and try and develop a style doesn't rely on athleticism, strength and stuff like that, because you're going to be very short-lived and have to quit very quick. I think that was the biggest change I did in my jiu-jitsu from when I first started, and it was very athletically based, to becoming a lot more with my jiu-jitsu and a lot more relaxed and try to soften up a lot more and really figure out how to win it as a chess match. Instead of forcing things on, I try and allow people to move, see what I can do from there, and just become more efficient and rely less on speed and athleticism and strength and more on timing and understanding in that mental chess game.
So I want to ask you some things about your coaching approach, like how to be a coach. But first, Tony has some fast questions for you.
Oh, shit.
So
give you some
he prepared here.
Equally fast answers.
Yeah.
But I had to raise like 3 of them because Rick had said no.
It's always with Tony.
I can imagine what those questions were.
We need to be like me and Ralph is like the filter for Tony. Yeah. Like we went to America.
It's in the United States.
Yeah. And then he just didn't understand that the things that he says in Swedish, but then he mixes it up with English words they understand. So, in Swedish, blah, 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 idiot, blah, 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 dick, blah, 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 you know. And they were like, Tony, they understand that. And he goes like, okay, next time. But like after like 1.5 weeks, he was still, didn't understand that. So.
And when we came home, I said to them, dude, did you know that we were... No, I always wanted to go to California.
Yeah, you said...
I want to go to California next time.
I want to go to California next time. And we were like, dude, that's where we were.
No, but California. California.
Because we were in Long Beach. He was like, he heard of this town called California.
But
the worst part was for me, was when we were standing in, I was traveling with Tony and Dennis and Simon, I think, and we're standing in line at TSA, like at that point, at the airport terminal when you're supposed to behave in your best way. You don't want to get pulled to the side. You want to. They start talking about the movie Die Hard. Can you imagine how many words there are in those sentences that involve like bomb, die, hard, explosion, terror? I'm like, can you pick any other subject than this? I mean, talk about any movie, but Die Hard.
Blow up Times Square.
Yeah. And they're like, TSA is like, oh, okay.
It's like that in that. What's it called?
The
Dictator.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie with
Sacha Baron Cohen?
Sacha Baron Cohen. They're in the helicopter.
But you guys have we don't have to say her name. It's a friend of ours. But when you were there with the yada 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 Swedish, my two.
Yeah. That's another story.
I feel like me and the podcast listeners
no,
the only ones that didn't get that.
Yeah.
No, that's a fun one. Okay, so 10 fast ones.
You pay a premium for that.
Oh, I'm good with fast.
Yeah,
it's quick.
You got 3 seconds to answer each question.
Oh wow!
And then I need to
completely
put on some. Yeah, all of them. But I need to do some intro music.
You want me to do like
this one? All right.
That's scary.
Okay, yeah, that's scary.
Okay, we're back.
I feel like someone's stepping into the door now.
That was good.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'm surprised, like you. Every time I do like a kullerbytta, you're like, "What good, Tony?"
Yeah, I am surprised by that.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Don't look ready, but okay.
Is that a question? Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Trick question.
Gi or no gi?
No gi.
Beer or kombucha?
Kombucha.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Best country to live in?
America.
Yeah, right. On top or on bottom?
Top.
Morning or night person?
Morning.
Can you dance?
Yes.
According to who?
No one.
Best fighter you fought?
Shit, that's hard.
Answer the question.
Rodolfo Vieira.
Who beat you?
Wow.
Just saying. I'm
Whoa.
just saying.
This was just questions, mate.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
judgments on here. What the hell?
Pissing, standing up, or sitting down?
Standing up, unless I'm taking a poo.
Like you did in my house. Destroyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Adult or musters?
Adult.
Did you say mustard?
Mustard?
I think I
What
did.
mustards?
I definitely prefer adult to mustard.
Adult or masters?
Adult.
Okay. Kit, boy or girl's name?
Boy.
Really?
Man.
Okay, good.
Beast.
Superman.
Did good.
Yeah, you did
Did
good.
Did I pass?
good. Yeah.
You mentioned Rodolfo Vieira. You fought him, is it a year ago?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. In Las Vegas.
Can we watch that fight? I actually...
Nope.
Okay.
But it was obviously a joke when I said you, because I watched the fight, of course, rooting for you, my pupil.
It's my student.
Oh, I thought it was pupil. Okay. But you were injured.
Yeah. Just before you start, I'll explain that because it was frustrating because I did get injured before that. I tore, I had a grade 3 separation of my clavicle here. You could see, well, let's see the cameras. See that lump there? It kind of like separates from my shoulder. And that happened about 3 weeks before the match. And it's really bad. I can get surgery done or I can just wait, but it's probably no point in getting surgery while I'm training. I can't even... Oh, hear that?
Nice.
There you go. So there's something wrong with my elbow. There's like a floating bone that doesn't bend more than that, and sometimes it gets messed up. Now, oh my God.
You had that for a long time.
Yeah, it's bad. Yes, and it got flared up before that. And I didn't really want to compete. I really want to compete with Rodolfo because he's like my favorite fighter of all time.
You actually mentioned it. Remember we had my last podcast? You said you had I'm going to fight this fighter. He's coming back, and then people started guessing. I could never imagine it was Rodolfo. So.
Oh man, he's so good.
Yeah.
And I did want to compete with him because I think he's amazing, and he's been one of my main inspirations in jiu-jitsu. But I was injured before that, and I'd already paid for my flights, my accommodation, and everything, and they were going to pay me back. And I knew if I didn't compete, I was not going to get any of that money back. So I was like, well, I need to do this. Plus, I don't like pulling out of events. But I was injured going into that, and it made it very hard for me to do much. And I can show you a moment in the fight where he hurts my shoulder by just breaking a grip, and then I had to leave my grip back, and it got ugly. This is my buddy Robert
Can we cut
Drosdale.
out the sound so we can talk?
Yeah, sure.
Now I will say this isn't like an in his prime Rodolfo Vieira. If this was Rodolfo Vieira 4 years prior, it would have been a lot worse. I'm kind of lucky where Rodolfo was.
But you're not trained. You did the Iron Sky. You weren't trained properly either.
Yeah, I guess it's both of us out of that prime.
Here you go.
Please, everyone, welcome Kit Dale.
Could you put the clap thing on now?
Yeah, boom.
Hey, they love you.
People
Wow.
love you.
So much more than he got.
Yeah.
All right, so talk us through this.
What's your mindset?
What's your mindset here?
Oh, I wasn't really thinking that much. I didn't really have much expectations. I just really didn't want to get hurt further in this. And it was really fun. Like, I think it was a little fun event, and it was little pressure, and everyone was having fun, so I thought it was great. So I'm playing around here. I know he's got great judo, but I have very much confidence in my stand-up ability. So we're just kind of playing around and see what's going on here.
They're actually saying that about you. That your
Robert
standing
says
is really good.
Yeah, he says he trains a lot with you, and he knows that your stand-up is really good.
Yeah, it's definitely not my gi stand-up. My no-gi is much better, but I can still adjust it. You see my underwear through there. That's cool. And this is hilarious, watching a second.
Yeah, this is like probably... This became a viral...
Yeah, it's the phone.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, right?
He's awesome. He's literally the nicest guy you can find.
Let's see that again.
That's correct.
Now you should take him down.
Yeah,
That was my opportunity.
100%. I would.
yeah, it's so fun.
So we have there's a lot of stand-up battling, and he was going for some nice throws, and I felt quite good. And I felt quite relaxed too, which was great. And then so I kind of try and I try and keep it slow because obviously I'm not super fit, and I want to make sure that it doesn't end up being a really hard, intense battle from the start because I guess that quite quick.
Hand fight you taught today at seminar.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as what it is now. It sounds like a cop out, but I have worked a lot on it.
Orthodox game, especially off his back. Good passer. And I know he's been
How was his like? Had you trained with him previously before this? Have you?
No, never. Just watched. I watched a lot of him.
Yeah. And how was he like when you grabbed onto him? How
he was good, man. He was like he's quite relaxed too. He wasn't like super. Like people talk like, oh, he looks strong in that, but he doesn't feel that. I feel he just feels very technical and very good.
Yeah.
What's that on your back? The white thing.
I don't know. They put
like
something on my
sumo.
belt. Yeah, I have no idea what that
that's
was.
the way to separate you from like the corral belt.
Oh, okay.
Can he grab that?
Nah,
sure.
That's a kid with
now he's like the Russian tie.
Now you're not worried.
That's a better grip for him.
Yeah. I feel quite good. Like my balance is quite good. It's in a second the way he breaks a grip with my right hand. That really he breaks a grip with my left hand. Not yet. That really hurts. I think in a second I'll hold something. I think he just rips this where I'm grabbing that grip on his hand. You'll see it in a second, and then I just don't go to grab him again because it felt like it really hurt when I tried to pull it over.
That was good balance by Kit because that was a deep.
Kit is a very good athlete. There's no doubt about it.
He's very strong too. Like surprisingly strong.
Very strong.
Arguably,
This is my good friends, Robert.
that the grip?
No, I don't think it was then. It's not then. You'll see soon. And you can just... Oh, yeah, it was then. It was then. You're right. Yeah. Can we go back on that? Can we get an instant replay on that? So if you watch, he breaks the grip of my left hand in a second.
Before.
It's over. And that.
Oh, no, before that.
There you go.
100 out of 100 times.
That's like.
I think it might have been there. You just can't see it.
No.
Oh, no, there, yeah. And that hurt. And then I just kept it away. Like, I didn't want to even reach over. It hurt so much. And then I knew I was in trouble because, like, I can't re-grip on that. And I know that he loves the Kataguruma. He's going to shoot in there. But there's not much I could there's not much I could do really at that stage. And then I try to do my best to try and stop him from passing. And I felt quite good. He's got a really good position there. But I feel kind of good in those positions, and I like trying to recover from there. So I try and do some things, and I get close to one, and he blocks it. And then there's literally 2 seconds left in the round.
Yeah, could you see the round watch?
No. Carolina was taking the time for me, and she didn't let me know. So I was didn't know there was 2 seconds left in the round. But I was happy to finish that and not get any more injured, to be honest with you.
All right, awesome. Well, you want to see the end?
Nah, that's fine. I don't want to see any more of that.
We got a question from Cassidy here.
Hey, Cassidy.
You skipped Kai's question.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to take it soon. Do you think Masters versus Adult Division is the same for female competitors? Meaning, do you think the Adult Division is more challenging for females?
I'm definitely not the expert to comment on that because I'm not a female one. I don't know how many people are in there. If we broaden the question, it becomes male and female. The adults class is always going to be, on the majority, it's going to be harder. But you could get a situation where you get a lot of the better people in the division happen to be masters, and they compete in the masters and not the adult, which would make the masters tougher. Just because it's masters doesn't necessarily mean it's easier. I've seen, you can have like Galval, Homolo Bahal, Josh Hinger, and all those guys doing masters. I mean, it's Gi Nogi. Josh won the Nogi Worlds as adult 3 times and lost the masters to Vito Oliveira, who's amazing. They're great competitors. So just because it's masters doesn't mean it's necessarily easier. But Tony,
we're talking about Masters 1 here.
I don't.
Masters 7 like
75 over here. No, that's different.
Yeah. Master is Masters.
I think there's really good people in the Masters, and they really go for it too. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easier, but there's probably less fights to win compared to adult.
I don't understand her question. Do you think Masters versus Adult Division is the same?
No, it's like.
Okay, now.
Usually the
I think it's going to be subjective
for females are not that. I mean,
not as many people.
Not as many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually there's a lot. Like I do a lot of bracketing, of course, working with Smooth Comp. So I see the trend because we help the UAJJF or the AJP with the bracketing, and sometimes there are no master classes for females at all, and then some we always like need to move them down. But it's like if I compare to a couple of years ago and what's seeing now, it's a tremendous development in the female like divisions.
Yeah,
it's
and
really
Cassidy
good.
Walsh, I know who that is. She's really good. She's won a lot of competitions lately. She's coming up in the blue belt, and she's been winning heaps.
Good for you, Cassidy. There's another question
no,
here.
wait, because I have this. Can you say the F word?
You
Fart?
said it.
I get fucking tired of this bullshit with, oh, you fought master. If you fight master, because that's where the money is. They don't get the respect. I mean, if I fight an adult black belt,
Did you just say that?
That's where the money is?
Where the money is?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you win? $5?
No. That's the bullshit thing. Not the prize money, but they're the one paying for everything. They're paying for their kids. They're paying for that. There's more masters fighting than adults.
Okay,
Stupid
so the
adults.
organizations are making the money from the masters.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we all thought you were going to pay there.
You're making the comparison like on a gym. You're getting the money from the people,
Parents.
the parents, and the people that not smashing the equipment
How
and
many
being pros.
adults was it versus plus 30 on the mat?
Today, a lot, most of them.
So, and they're like, oh, I love this sport, they blah, blah, blah. But they get lesser because it's master. But I want to say that it's harder finding Master 3 in black than adult, because that Master 3 in black has been a black belt for 20 years. The adult could have been
not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Could. I said could. Is. But the other one could have been like, 5 months or 1 year. And
So, sorry, Tony.
yeah, sure.
You didn't get so much traction.
No.
But
But I just want come give me something.
Yeah,
I'm right?
Cassidy is back again. She say, I'm asking because I won the world's masters in gi and no gi, so I'm considering competing in adult this year.
Didn't just hear me, Cassidy? Masters.
Yeah, I look, if you're winning that, I think you should do both of them.
Yeah,
because it's a great challenge, and I know, like, if you measure it from what people think of it, they're always going to hold adult much higher than masters. So it's great for you. The thing you're probably going to get is a lot more people competing. I'm not sure how many people, and if you can answer that, how many people you had in the Masters Worlds. Like, how many fights did you have in the Masters Worlds? And you compare that to adult, most likely you're going to have more fights in the adults than what you did in there. So, but it doesn't mean that the quality is going to be the same. And I've seen this in black belt. You can see, like, depending on where they do the seeding and stuff like that, you might have 90 guys competing in black belt. No, it's probably not that many, but like in a division, right? And you might have 50 of those that are just hobbyists that happen to be under the age as black belts. And then it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be harder, but more likely younger people are going to be fitter and more athletic, so it's probably going to be a little bit more. And I shouldn't say this, like, a little bit more of a war, because sometimes they're a lot more technical than what the masters scene. Like, I've seen masters come out there and they're just like full, like, complete energy.
Yeah.
But I mean, we get this question a lot also from our
students
here.
People training,
like in front of competition, like, should I go master? Should I go adult? Because they're very good, but they're still masters. But they don't know what to choose. What I recommend them is that, like, take a look at the brackets and see, like, how many fights will you get in masters? How many fights will you get in adult? And what are you comfortable with as a win? Because I mean, I've competed a lot also, and sometimes if they're because of different reasons, there's only one fight and I win. It's nice, but I don't really feel like it's a tournament win in that way. It's more like a super fight win than I just got to fight one guy. I wish I would have been able for me to feel like it's a tournament win, I need like 2 or 3 fights at least. So I guess it's up to each person. Like, what do you feel comfortable with winning? Are you comfortable with winning with one fight, or do you want to?
I see a lot of people confident, like, they're just happy to get,
Yeah, I mean,
and I just we can talk about this because that's something that I think is a terrible development in the way that you can win even sometimes without competing. You just get a medal and then you can post it online, and it's just like, so yeah, I'm with you, Ralph. I just say, go for the biggest challenge. Try to have as many fights as possible. Try to get your experience.
She just said the same thing. She said, I want to take the most challenging route. She's doing registered in the adult. Yeah, I think if you're going to do this challenging route, definitely go adults, but you can do masters as well, of course. But I think for the challenge, adults is usually going to be a bigger challenge. And generalization of that question, it's very subjective onto what you want to get out of competition. Like for yourself, where you said, like, if you feel like the challenge is the most important thing, then of course you want more fights. But if it's just having fun and stepping out there, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, for some people it might just be the trip to Portugal and being with your friends from the academy and training and competing. And if you're fine with one win, then that's fine also.
See, that's what I'm like that now. I'm like, I'm looking forward more to traveling and having fun. So the less I fight, the better for me.
But Masters is the exact same thing as an adult. You fight the people your age. It's not like you're fighting older people.
Yeah, and that's true too.
Mean, so what I want to do is that I want to win everything in Masters, and I have. So now I want to fight in adult, because now I've done that, so I can do both.
Yeah, you can test it out.
Yeah,
but I agree with you in the sense it is like you're evening in the odds because I'm 33 now. I haven't competed in Masters yet, but I will this year. I'm 33 now, and I think to myself I should be doing adult, but I would do both of that. But I just never have competed in Masters, so I want to kind of do it as well. But I don't really care so much about the medals or anything anymore. I mean, it would be nice to win it, but it's not going to change my life at all.
You posted a good thing about that.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, it was a repost of something I did a while. What was it about? Yeah, the medals and that will fade. And that's why it's the same thing. The same reason I said about what I was saying before was I don't want to focus on the destinations of anything anymore because like the medals will come and go. That'll all happen. And they'll fade, and then you'll be left with the experiences you had and stuff like that. So I think it's much more important to find a journey that you enjoy doing. That if it has good rewards, it's even better. Like that's why I kind of like acting at the moment because I love acting. I think it's fun, but you also get paid a lot of money to act, which is also nice as well. But I wouldn't do it just for the money because it's a lot of work. And a lot of shit that you don't want to have to deal with for money. And I say the same thing with jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's a lot of work, and only very select few make a lot of money doing it. And you have to be smart if you want to make money. And I don't mean intelligently smart. You just have to pick a smart route to make a lot of money in jiu-jitsu. Because
I was on harassing Ricard because we had the Nordic Open, BJJ. I was like, what's with the prize money for the adults only? We're doing it too. I mean, we're in there. We're fighting. I mean,
yeah, but there's just a certain amount of money that you can give out, and
of course.
So you have to kind of
course.
And
I just don't think they recognize or give enough credit to people fighting.
Yeah, because there's like 5 master classes. So if you got the one master, you have to give to 5 master classes, and a female and adult. That's
and you got like master classes with like 2 people in there, compared to adults with 60 people in there.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to talk about coaching. So I consider myself being a coach now these days. Like it's been many years since I competed. It took me a while to kind of leave that mindset of being an athlete and competing, and then stepping in to be a coach. Where do you see yourself now? Are you still an athlete, or are you a coach, or are you both?
I'm an icon.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Tony Stark answer saying that people are agreeing with Tony.
Oh God, he's going to be the fan favorite for sure. Yeah. No, I think I'm definitely more of a coach now. My competition side of jiu-jitsu is definitely as a hobbyist. Anymore, 2 to 3 times a week I'll train if I'm lucky. I'm riddled with injuries, unfortunately, and there's some that just are not going away. So it's tough for me to look at that. Plus, I don't feel like I need to do anything else in competition in jiu-jitsu. Very happy with the way I progressed and everything I did, and I've got bigger challenges elsewhere. But I do really enjoy coaching, and I feel like I know a lot about coaching, and I can help a lot of people excel quicker and enjoy jiu-jitsu a lot quicker. So my goal now is to really help people restructure the way they look at learning, and not just learning jiu-jitsu, but learning in general, to allow them to not only just learn much faster, but enjoy what they're learning, much more as well. So I'm definitely much more of a coach now, and I don't want to be my own school. And people are always like, you're talking so much shit, kid. Where's the world champions you've trained? It's like, well, I don't have my own school, so it's very hard to teach you that. And I've only just released half my program, so it's going to take a little bit of time for people to really absorb it. But that's not the world for me. I want to just help as many people as I can. I can do that online very luckily. And, there's an old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And you can be the worst coach in the world, and you can have that one student that comes in that's always going to be amazing. Doesn't matter what you say to him, he's going to be great. Or you can be the best coach in the world, and you can have students that have the IQ of a potato and are never going to, learn that quick. It's very hard to judge people by their students. And you'll see a lot of these big schools that say, we've got these guys, and we've got the best here. It's like, yeah, but you've got all these guys that were already really good, and you've all moved into the same place to train against each other. Of course, you're going to look good, but it's no credit to your teaching at all. And that goes for most coaches out there.
Good point.
But I think most coaches are still using an outdated industrial age system, which is basically a copy and paste system where I tell you exactly what my techniques are. You do them exactly the way I showed them, and then you're going to be good at jiu-jitsu, and it never works. You might get a couple techniques that help you and stuff like that, but it's very short-lived, where I feel like you have to look at, when someone gets the best out of themselves, and as a coach, you want to get the students to get the best out of themselves, it has to be an organic thing. It can't be mechanical. Let's say you're my student, Tony. I know I'm your student, so it's different, and I apologize for this metaphorical.
Okay, go.
My goal is for you to get the best out of yourself, and only you can do that. I can't mechanically do that. I can't tell you exactly what to do, and then suddenly you're going to be amazing. What I can do is create an environment and give you guidelines and rules to follow to discover yourself, so to speak. And that's what you have to do as a coach, because learning and real learning comes from trial and error. It comes from playing around with things, and you do a cycle of problem solving. And the military called it the OODA loop, where it's basically, and I use it in my own terms, every moment in jiu-jitsu, you're doing these 4 things. You evaluate the situation, the problem in front of you. You come up with a solution, you execute the solution, and then you evaluate your success, okay? You take new information that you just gathered, you take it back to the front. Now you analyze a new problem with new information. You come up with a new solution, you execute that new solution, and then you gather more information. And the more you do that, which is very good with positional sparring, the more information you're gathering. Not only are you gathering more information, you're doing it in what I was talking about today in the seminar with the emotional arousal theory. You're doing it live, which makes your brain remember it for much longer than when there's no emotional attachment to it. So the positional sparring is great, but you have to have very good guidelines, and I think concepts are the best guidelines because they're not rigid techniques, but they're ideas for you to follow, and then it allows you to be a lot more flexible with your approach and improvisational to come up with your own solutions to unique problems. Because realistically, if jiu-jitsu was done, again, in matrix format or mathematically, every situation would have different numbers and be different. It may feel like the same situation, but it's slightly different or drastically different. So your solutions to that problem have to be tailor-picked. They can't be repetition, memorized routines. Otherwise, they're never going to fit perfectly. They're always going to be a little bit off, but you're going to smash them on. It's much better to look at everything as a unique problem and draw from your experience and ways that you've solved these problems, but adjust it accordingly to the situation. And that's where you start getting much better in jiu-jitsu and gathering a lot more information rather than the industrial age model of just, repeat and regurgitation.
It really resonated with what you said today about if you're excitement, when something happens, it stays with you. I mean, for instance, I remember almost every time I lost in a competition where I got tapped. I know exactly now why I lost because it was
an emotional connection.
It was an emotional connection to it, and I don't try not to make the same mistakes many times over, but I think the mistakes I made in those competitions where I got tapped, I think those mistakes I've been able to fix most than the other mistakes I made because I remember them so much more.
Yeah, it's the same as we play PlayStation Tricky Towers.
I knew this would come up.
I remember I never lost to you.
This is pure
I never
life.
lost to you, but if I did, I'd remember every single one of those. But it happens, and not even just when you lose. When things go your way and you win. And it could be little things. It's like sometimes you're in training and you do just one little thing, and it might be like moving a hand here or left or right, and it feels good. You're like, yes, that worked. And it could be very small, but you remember that. And you recall that and you retain that for a lot longer. Where if you're learning techniques, you'll find that after 4 weeks, you'll forget 90% of your techniques that you learnt. You know, it's mostly what you gathered while rolling. And sometimes you might learn a technique that fits perfectly into your game and you can go with that and run with that. But where it's going to stick is when you start trying to apply it in real life situations. And the more you practice like the way I did without drilling, spending a lot of time drilling techniques and more playing around and improvising, the easier it is to learn new information because the memory system's like a scaffolding system. The less information you have on something, the smaller the scaffold. So when you learn new information, it's very hard for it to stick. Like anytime we've learned something new and someone talks, uses technical jargon that you don't understand, it goes through one ear and out the other. And you almost forget exactly what they said because you don't have anything to associate that information with. When you start figuring things out, and you would notice this when you first started, people would say certain things and it just didn't make any sense. And then suddenly 4 months later, those lessons they told you, like, oh, that's what he mean when he was saying this, because suddenly you have something to associate that information with. So the best thing to do when you're a newbie is get some kind of experience in that game. Where most people are like, oh, I'm new, tell me exactly what to do, give me a guard pass, 2 sweeps and all that, and I'm going to start building. It's like the slow way. The first thing I do with someone new is like, okay, you've never done jiu-jitsu in your life? Okay, look, this is what jiu-jitsu is about. This is the game. This is what we're trying to do. I'm going to break it down positionally, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some sparring today, okay? And, okay, this is the guard. This is how to pass. You know, this is where you want to be when you pass the guard. Okay, this is what you don't want me to be doing. Now I want you to pass my guard. And they'll be like, I don't know how it's cool. I say, I know you don't. It doesn't matter. I want you to try it. Figure it out. I'm not judging you. And then you make them feel comfortable. Okay. And they start trying to move and they start doing things and they're using a lot of energy and stuff like that. And they're playing around. And then suddenly they nearly pass and they're like, oh, and they get so excited. And then you stop.
And they elbow you in the face.
Yeah. And then you lose your teeth, you know. But then I stop and I say, okay, look, here's some fundamental issues with your posture, or here's some certain things with your energy, just conceptual ideas, and just give them some guidelines. And then they take that information, they go further. Every time I finish a session with them, they'll always say the same, like, and a lot of them will come to me like 6 months in and stuff like that, and they'll go like, I learned more in this one session than I did in the last 6 months. I say, yeah, it had nothing to do with me. It was all from you, because you were allowed to start learning yourself and figuring things out instead of being helicopter parented by coaches that tell you, do this. No, you're doing that wrong. Do it exactly like this. It's the worst way to teach someone. You get students that are too scared to start improvising and start figuring things out, learning by trial and error, because they're too scared that the coach is going to tell you off for making a mistake with their perfect technique that's not even effing perfect.
Yeah, and that translates over to competition also. I feel like some coaches, they like helicopter parent their competitors during the match. They never let them develop their own voice, and then like it becomes especially awkward when the coach says like, grab the right hand, and then they do that and they get like,
oh, it's the worst.
Or they try to kind of show off being, like, for me, like, coaching is a way to help somebody reach their full potential. So I have some like ideas of what you might be able to do right now, but it's, if I try to coach and just be heard, like I want everybody around in the arena to hear my voice, then I'm just gonna be throwing out fancy stuff out there, but there's no relationship to the student, because he doesn't understand even what I'm talking about, but it makes me look, and people can, oh, that coach looks really experienced and he says a lot of cool things, but there's no connection to the student.
No.
And I hate that. It's like, I was coaching Ralph once, and I'm just gonna tell this story without mentioning any names, but it was just such a like an experience in that, because he's my younger brother. He's a black belt. He's one of the best fighters in Sweden. The way I can help him while he's competing is not much anymore. Like I can be there as a support. I can encourage things, but the way the technical coaching is very limited, because he knows a lot of shit. Because I taught him that.
Shit.
Yeah. But so when I'm coaching Ralph, I'll be like, come on, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Try that, and that's the way I'll be coaching him. But then you know, and then the other corner is like shouting out all this fancy stuff about blah 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 blah. They're just and you just hear this, you know, somebody's just talking, and it was just like, you know, it's such a different approach for how I see it as being a coach.
I say the same thing. Sebastian Broch come to compete at No Gi Worlds, and he asked if I could train with him before leading up to help him, because he didn't have anyone in LA to help. Specifically, so I helped him with the session and stuff, and just added a few things that I use in my game that I thought felt, you know, he could improve on. And he's like, "Can you coach me today in the competition?" I said, "Look, I can coach you, but look, I'm going to say what I see. But you're the boss when it comes to deciding what you do. Don't don't disagree with what I'm saying and do it anyway. You go with your gut feeling, and I'm just going to say things. And if you like what I say and you feel like it's open, go, because I can't see what's going on out there. I can't feel what's going on out there. Thank you.
No, but it's so true. It's like,
there's a lot going on out there. So I helped coach him, and I do, and this was really good, and I felt like I should pat myself on the back with this, and he was very happy with this because I knew what he needed to work on, and I knew where he was very strong. And I tell you one thing, he has unbelievable cardio. I was training with him and working with him, and like after like 9-10 minutes, I'm like, man, I'm getting really tired. He just keeps going. Like he's got like a relentless pace. And I knew that probably no one's going to have the same pace as what he has. So he was down by like 4 points, and he made a few like fundamental technical mistakes with the wrestling side of things that he's only just starting to play with because he's primarily a judoka, and doing no-gi is a little bit different. So he was doing no-gi instead of gi, and this is the Worlds. And this guy was 4 points up like quite early. And I just kept telling, I was like yelling at him. I'm just, keep hand fighting, keep working. Don't let him adjust at all. Just keep making him use his energy. So he kept doing that, and Sebastian wasn't getting anywhere with him. Like, but kept breaking. But then I started seeing like opportunities that the guy could have taken in like openings on Sebastian, but he wasn't taking him. I'm like, he's getting tired. Like, because there's opportunities there where he could take him down, but just didn't go because he was getting tired. So I was like yelling more. I'm like, just keep going, keep going. Within like 2 minutes left, the guy broke. Sebastian took him down, mounted him, finished him. Like the guy was just, because he was just physically defeated. And it's like, it's good to have someone like that can see that kind of stuff, but it's just very general encouragement. It wasn't like, I never said anything technical, and I couldn't anyway because it's very hard to hear what I'm saying. And I was filming him with one hand, which he said, he's like, next time don't film me so I can see your hands doing the movements. But that's all I like. When I'm competing, I could get anyone. I just say, listen, just tell me the time and tell me the score. If there's something I don't see, like a negative point or something like that, tell me the score and the time, because I know what's going on. And I've been in so many comps where I'm like, I might be down by an advantage or a point, or it's even, and there's like 4 minutes to go, and you hear the same thing. Go for it, get it now. It's like no.
That's another. There's two types of coaching. I think that's like the one thing that you mentioned is like somebody telling me the time, encouraging me. But then there's this coaching relationship that you can build over years. Like you get to know the student, you get to know your coach, and that person just has to be there, and then you can give him this encouragement just by one look, or just being present. Doing that thumbs up.
You coached me through the phone once at the Worlds.
Oh
yeah.
You on the phone on the mat?
Yeah, he was with the girl in the bedroom.
We had to
and he's
tape
like,
it.
Kip, what do I do? I was like, hey,
Take the back.
Just calm down right now. Let me step you through this.
You're doing it wrong.
Don't worry about the size. Tell her it gets bigger.
I have a question. We're
actually.
You want to do Kai's?
Yeah, we've been posting Kai's message here for some times, but I never got to read it to you. He says, "Where do you see yourself in 5 and 10 years? Being a yogi, running your own gym."
I mean, a yogi, you mean like is that like a yoga?
I think he's referring to your Metamoris master there.
Oh, maybe. No. In 5 to 10 years, definitely not running my own gym. I probably mentioned that a little bit earlier. I see myself on billboards, promoting Coca-Cola and stuff like that. Big brands. No, I think in 5 or 10 years, I think I'll be quite established in the film world, and you'll probably see me not competing in jiu-jitsu, probably just coaching in jiu-jitsu and working on a lot more films and stuff like that. I think it's going to...
When you say coaching in jiu-jitsu, do you mean your online coaching?
Yeah. The online coaching is the only coaching I want to be doing.
Okay.
I mean, I do like doing seminars, but I'm very picky on where I do seminars. As you said, I'm in Sweden. I had a lot of messages for people in Europe that want me to do seminars, but for me, I prefer to do it with my friends that I'm training, and I like you guys, so like I do it because you're my buddies. I like hanging out with you guys. I don't really want to travel much anymore to teach seminars. Financially, it's not beneficial for me. I make better money with my programs online by a mile than what I do with seminars, so it's not worth the value on money, and it's a lot of work traveling and doing that kind of stuff. It takes it out of you, and it's it always takes a toll. So I prefer to do the online stuff, and it allows me to be in Los Angeles and do auditions and stuff like that. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're most likely going to see. So I'll tell you about that website in a minute, because it's not the right website anymore. It's theartofmasteringjiu-jitsu.com. You'll see me probably in a lot more films and more established in the film world, which I hope you guys are happy with. I know it's annoying when you're really into jiu-jitsu and you have someone in jiu-jitsu and they kind of leave to do something else, but hopefully I can take a part of jiu-jitsu with me into the film world and put that on a larger show.
No one likes a quitter.
No, I'm not a quitter, man.
But since I made you,
The Art of Mastering Jiu-Jitsu,
looking forward to being in one of your films.
It's funny because I used to have kitdaletraining.com, and then we changed the website to The Art of Mastering Jiu-Jitsu. Just put it in the URL, www.
Yeah, I tried, but it was so hard to spell it.
You need some help with your SEO,
I can fix it.
search engine optimization.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
This is the one?
Oh, maybe that's not. Was it kitdaletraining.com? I think it's just the product.
Yeah, it's just
so people are going to kitdaletraining.com and messaging me all the time because they're not able to buy the products because it says they're not available, because everything is at theartofmasteringjiu-jitsu.com. So go there.
It takes people to know how to spell jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it is annoying though, because we get so much traffic at Kitdale Training, and it's like the first thing that comes up when you search my name. So
why don't you just redirect that site to?
That's what I got to do. I've been getting my team to do that for a while now, and it's taken a while. Is that hard to do?
I can do it in 30 seconds.
I can do it in 20.
Okay, now
how do you spell it?
Now my team's in trouble.
Yeah,
Art of
mastering the jiu-jitsu.
The Art of Mastering Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh my God, that's a long name.
Yeah, I know.
This podcast sucks.
Of Mastering Jiu-Jitsu.
Mastering. Oh, okay.
Yeah, can't find it.
With a dash or without
Safari,
the dash?
that's in Africa, right?
Oh my God.
What have you got written there?
I wrote
without the dash, I think.
Not the what dash in jiu-jitsu, man?
Dash.
What are you doing?
Okay, here we go. I'm doing. Oh, here you go.
There we go. So this is my online academy.
Super easy to find.
So once you purchase it though, it takes you to Teachable, and Teachable's an app. You can download it on every single phone you have or whatever you have, your iPads and whatnot, and you can watch it anywhere. You can stream it. It's a high quality. It comes out very great. You can leave comments on the videos, and it's very interactive, which I enjoy.
Yeah, well, we got to help you with that URL. And really,
I'll help you later.
That was harder than going through Mortar or something.
But I want to get back to the seminars. I have some questions.
So
there.
we only have like 5 minutes left. So or we can go longer, but we've been talking for.
Kid's been teaching for 4 hours today.
Yeah. So we got a question here about without the dash. Yeah, thanks, Marcus. Marcus has a question. I have a question regarding the side control. Is the Q&A period now or in the end of the podcast?
You can ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcus, if you have a question about side control. We'll be taking some questions now in the end. Also, you mentioned a discount code here in the seminar for people. Do you want to share that as well?
Yeah. So if you go to theartofmasteringjiu-jitsu.com and you put in, if you want to purchase, you can put in NACA in capital letters 50, and you will get a giant discount. So that'll be a discount code you can use. It'll be up for the next 2 days. So if you want to delve into my style of teaching and learn more about that, use that code because it'll make it a lot cheaper. Save yourself a lot of money and invest in something that's going to help you learn in the future, which is now.
Which is now. The future is here.
Here it is. Okay, his question. How do I get out of side control?
But
I bet you that's a question.
Seminars, is it hard sometimes when you go to seminar and people want to like ask you out for dinner, and if you're tired from the flight, you just want to go to your hotel and just chill? But
yeah, I think a lot of people say the same thing. That's the toughest part, because after a seminar, especially, I talk a lot during my seminars, a lot of intellectual stuff, and it's taxing. And then by the time you've finished, my mind's like mush right now. Like even now, like my mind's quite mush. I feel like I'm not doing too bad. Ralph looks worse than me right now.
Thank you.
But it is very taxing. So it's when you want to go out and they want to go out for dinner and stuff like that. Like I'll do it all the time, but sometimes you can be super tired there, and it's just very hard. It's not going to be the same person that before the seminar and something like that. But it's part of the seminar. Seminars are good. It's just if you're doing too many, and I see this a lot of people do, like they burn themselves out with seminars, like they win a big competition and they organize like 50, 60 seminars, and it's like, yeah, you're going to make a bit of money and stuff like that, but holy shit, man, that's high taxing crap that you're going to do. And it's going to water down your seminars as you go further on, because you're going to be less, more tired and exhausted. But, each to their own. I've made that mistake. I've done that. But
that's how we met.
That is how we met.
Yeah.
So it
and I lured
has
you
some
in
good
with
things.
Computer games.
Yeah, when you told me you had a VR, and I was like, let me see this.
And how the fuck did you get there?
How did I get there?
No, how did it get there? Thanks to me.
What do you mean, thanks to you?
What do you mean, thanks to me?
You drove in with your car, is that what you mean? Or?
Can you mute his mic?
What's his question?
So we got a question from Sweep here. He says, "Is it important to have a connection with your BJJ coach?"
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I get a lot of these messages actually where people are unhappy with their coach and they're worried should they leave and stuff. And like, if the coach isn't serving you, I mean, you're paying them. If the coach isn't serving you, then you should go to somewhere you feel more comfortable, or somewhere where you get the attention you feel like you deserve. Look, it doesn't mean you deserve the attention by any means at all. Like, some people get a little bit offended by that, but it is important to get along with your coach. I've left 3 or 4 gyms in the past because me and the coach don't see eye to eye, and I have no regrets at all from moving. So I don't buy into this creonch.
What kind of disagreements were that? Just not specific, but like what in general? What do you think validates leaving?
It was a different situation with me because I was coming up and I was learning quite quick, and it's easy to have a student like that talks and teaches in a different style to what you want to, and a different culture that you want to have, and it's very easy to have a clash of titans, so to speak. So when I was at Peter DeBean's I used to get along with him really well, but once I started getting a lot better, I could see he was getting threatened by me, and it was just natural. Like, the students would ask him questions and they would kind of ask me the same questions, and our answers are going to be quite different because we looked at jiu-jitsu very differently. And a lot of coaches don't like that. So what was happening is he wouldn't turn up to class, and then he'd get a blue belt to teach, and I was there as like a brown belt. I'm like, why doesn't he get me to teach? Like, it was specific. He knows I'm going to be there, but he gets a blue belt to run the class, or a purple belt. So you can kind of feel like unwanted in that situation. So I said, yeah, cool, I'll get out of here. It doesn't bother me too much. Same as with my first school, I was kind of there. And look, I was definitely outgrowing that quite quickly, and I was more selfish in a sense, because I had to be selfish because I wanted to be a world champion at that time. So I was more focused on my own training, and he wanted me to sort of step aside and start teaching a lot more, but I really wanted to learn, because I see people make this mistake a lot. People become coaches too quickly instead of learning, and not just in jiu-jitsu, but in all lives in general, where they and not even like, this happens in social environments where you've got friends that seem to be the person that gives all the advice to other people, but they never stop and think, fuck, do I even know what I'm talking about? I'm giving all this advice out. Like, maybe I should stop right now and keep studying and learning more about myself and other people, and then start, selling yourself later on for a lot, better price.
People don't like saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
If we go back to Sweep, his question with the connection to coach, it looks like he's rather young. So I think, good question, or it's just someone has a cute picture of his child, but to trust your coach, you have to have that. If you don't trust your coach, I mean, that was half the problem with mine. I didn't trust what my coach was saying, and I'm not going to use any names specifically, but like, I would say something, and I could see that he was making up bullshit and lies about certain things and teaching stuff that was just highly unrealistic, and I could see he'd gone past the point of like being consciously intelligent, and he just kind of wanted to keep that edge, so he was teaching really weird stuff that no one could ever really pull off, and a lot of people saw he lost a lot of students, that coach.
What is a movie called where they teach their student wrong on purpose just to make for fun?
Was there a movie?
Like they make like Asian Hong Kong movie, fighting movie, and like, we taught him wrong on purpose for fun. He's like, I'm punching myself in the face, I'm winning.
What?
No, nobody's seen that movie.
I don't know what movies you're watching.
No,
mate.
But that was the trend. Like, when the Brazilians came to Europe, they like the first seminars with Brazilians here. There were like this rumor that they were actually teaching it wrong. And
I used to hear the same things.
I heard people, like reliable sources, saying that was actually it. I actually went to a seminar with Hoist Gracie when he one of the first he had here in Sweden, when he he taught how to pass the guard, and then he just put his arm inside of the triangle to stack the person. And then I saw the reaction in the room, and there were some Russians there. They were training, and they were like the whole atmosphere in the room became really strange. Like, you're supposed to do that because like that's like a no. And then he just to like he was in the guard, and then to open the guard, he just put his hand really like way back, and then he just lifted up the leg on the shoulder, and then Hoist just said, "All right, I can really say it in his voice," but he was like, "I'll show you." And then he got the Russian on the back, and then he did that, and then the Russian just really like connected a triangle like really hard. And this was in Hoist's prime. He actually just won the first UFC or something. And then people in the room, and we were like looking at each other like, oh my God. And then the Russian, he was strong. And then Hoist just stayed there in the guard. And it was like, oh my God, he's going to tap him out, And then eventually he just passed. Woo.
The Russian guy let him go?
No. I think actually he had control of the situation, but it was super tight. And I remember like Pat Eklund was there, and Carlos, Paulo Roberto. There was a lot of people joining the seminar. We were like looking at each other like, this is a really strange, you challenge the instructor in that sense. And he just went for it. Like, I'm going to tap Hoist out here. But
he falls asleep and everybody's like, okay, we're leaving.
But
let's answer
Marcus. Marcus has a lot of questions here. Then we're going to end up, we've been going at it for some time now, but Marcus says, so a lot of times when I get stuck in side control, he's asking about the side control thing. That's a long question, Marcus, but
says a lot of times when I get stuck in side control, they pass my half guard. A lot of the time I get pinned on my back. They get underhook in and use the head chest to pin on my back.
Keep reading.
Then I try to do a knee shield up to defend against the mount, but then it ends up them pushing it back. Knee on the belly and mount. At this point,
I'm in competition, I'm like 5 points behind.
I tried to scramble out, which works, but I lose 90% of my energy tank, and now I'm 5 points behind.
That's a long question.
Yeah. I think you need to address this on the mat, Marcus. It's hard for us
online
to
coaching.
Answer.
Yeah. Look,
sorry, Marcus.
I can give you a quick answer to that anyway. The biggest problem in that is the fact that you're giving up an underhook and getting put in side control with an underhook from half guard. Because obviously, if he's passing half guard and then he ends up with an underhook, that means you gave him an underhook from half guard, which is something you don't really want to do. There's very little benefits from having an overhook while in half guard. So you want to make sure you win that battle there. I have a kind of a concept for playing half guard is like to always, I call it smelly armpits. You want to act like you have smelly armpits, so you keep your arms tucked in so they can't have the underhook, because the underhook is the most powerful grip when passing, so you don't want them to have that. You basically don't want to have them attached to your upper body at all, so you have to get better at hand fighting and defending yourself from being underhooked or, being controlled and cross-faced like that, and then they're going to have a lot less chance of passing to side control. Once they pass the side control with an under-over, like the cross-face and the underhook, it's going to be very difficult regardless of who you are. So, it's very easy to get mounted and lose from there. But the real problem there is in your half guard and to get an underhook and passing. So make sure when you're playing half guard, you control the underhook on that side, or at least they don't have an underhook or a crossface. Frame very well and frame a lot, and that'll help you a lot more from there.
He says he'll ask in the seminar tomorrow, so he's coming tomorrow, so you can pin him down.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't know that.
No, he just wrote it last thing. I'll ask in the
All right. This has been fun.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, maybe.
For sure.
Sucks.
For sure. That didn't sound a lot of... yeah, for sure. I had a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, Kit.
No, thank you for having me.
I think I love when you visit. I learn so much from thinking about what we're doing. Like,
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's really, really good. Yeah. So if you've been watching this, then thank you a lot for joining in. And we'll be coming back with a podcast like this. This is the first time in this new studio. Actually, I'm going to show off a little bit here in the end, just by...
I'd also like to note that this is my bad side, so I'm actually a lot better looking in real life.
Yeah, so you're like Mariah Carey.
If you look at that. Look at that. Shit.
It's pretty cool, right? So this is the studio. We put a lot of effort in here to make this a working studio, but we're also going to use this equipment for our Nordic BJJ Open streaming. We do streaming with Smooth Comp on those events. So yeah, we'll be coming back with podcasts. Next up is our newly world champion and third place jiu-jitsu fighters, Fredrik Widgren and William Seth-Wenzel. They fought in Abu Dhabi. Fredrik became world champion and William got third. He won last year. So hopefully they will join the podcast. If you have people that you think we should invite to the studio, please let us know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And please like this. This is the things you're supposed to say, but it helps a lot for us if we're going to grow this channel. And then, yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it as a listening podcast, audio only. I haven't really decided on that, but yeah, for now, we'll just do it like this.
But please, just what do you want? Who do you want us to talk to? Who do you want to invite? Because we know a lot of people in this business.
Yeah.
You bragging?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like
Yes. I don't usually do that.
We know.
No, you don't.
No.
A lot of people in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
All right, I'll put on the intro or the outro music here, and then.
Do we dance to this?
Oh, no, look, another thing. Tony says you're a
short as a
You're
dwarf.
as short as a dwarf.
Should we compare now?
Why would you call him a dwarf?
Thank you, Nico.
Why would you call him a dwarf?
Yeah,
Listen,
it was me writing.
Wow.
I just want to explain
He's
why
talking
we're
about,
sitting.
you're talking about Ralph, right?
No.
He's the shortest person
No,
at this
no,
table.
no.
You're
You're
both-
talking about you because you're the shortest.
There's
shortest
no
person.
way. There is
You're
no
both
way you're taller than me.
hobbits.
Just before the
Let's
podcast,
settle this
they
right now.
started arguing about this. Who's the tallest? We
Who's the shortest?
No,
Ralph.
they say tallest.
You're both
No.
hobbits.
I'm 5'10".
Yeah, right.
I
What
don't
are
know
you?
how much that is.
You're like
but I'm
5'1".
Why
180.
were you stretching? When
Stand
he did.
up. Stand up. Stand
No,
up.
wait.
We need
Let's see
to
this.
cover this now. Who is the shortest or tallest?
And they put us like this so they would look taller.
Look at the roof.
You can't see. You have to do with the.
Yeah, I don't know if.
Do with that one.
Cheating already.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Wait.
Stand normal and remove his hair.
You're looking like peacocks.
All right. So here it is.
Actually, I think Ralph is taller.
You
No.
know, no. Turn your backs towards against each other.
Both short as fuck.
Push his hair down.
Well, actually, Kit, I'm sorry, but
No way. You're the shortest. You look at it from the right angle. You look at it from that angle. He's always going to look
If I was
taller.
as short as you.
It's the hair. It's the hair.
All right.
Damn, I'm
We're
stretching
out.
my whole body then.
Yeah, me too. I just put my back.
Have a great weekend, people.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao.
Oh, that feels good.
I did it. I'm like this big and much
It's
bigger
like
than
a
Carolina,
white
and I
belt
always make sure
winning.
she knows.
You want nothing.